Brompton bags. There is such a wide market to choose from and finding the right one for you is difficult. But today I am going to cover the bag which I would consider to be one of the least popular, under-reviewed and least talked about bags within the Brompton lineup. This bag in question is the Borough Roller Rack Bag. This bag is designed for the advanced roller rack, which typically comes with the P and T line, but not as standard. That is an additional cost of around £140. Now, the bag itself is £90, the advanced roller rack is £140. So is this bag worth the cost of the rack and the bag itself? Stay tuned to find out, because this bag has had its highs and its lows with me, but I believe I found the sweet spot and I think I can now share why this bag may be a good choice for yourself in your daily commute. Now, let's dive into the Borough Roller Rack Bag.
He's the Brompton Guy!
The Borough bag itself, I personally feel, is quite an aesthetic looking bag. I think they've done a great job on there, and the 14 litre capacity is actually very practical for all your daily commuting needs. The bag itself comprises of a carry handle at the top here. We do have a loop here and a loop here, which I'll explain what I've got on here later, which does let you have a shoulder strap. Personally, I don't like the shoulder strap myself. We then have dual zips here, which then lets us into the bag compartment itself. We have a hook here, which I'm going to guess is for some kind of light or anything on there. I've not personally used it myself. The mounting system for the rack itself, which comprises of the two clips here. It has the part that will clip into the rear triangle here, and another stabilising part for the seat post here, which does overall hold the bag in really, really nice. We have a Cordura 1000D nylon fabric going around it, which is water resistant, not waterproof, but I think it does an absolute stellar job, especially with the shape of it. I think it actually works really well to get rid of water rather than hold it in any spaces or have any weakness, especially with the overlap here, as it will run down rather than sit in any fold on it there. The carry handle is really practical. I just wish it was a little bit more forward, and I'll explain later why I think this could have been redesigned in a different way and maybe undersighted for the use that I've personally found for it there. And I have added a nice addition here, which is just an Apple AirTag. I take this in with me daily. I leave it when I go into the climbing centre inside it, which I'll cover later. Contents is predominantly climbing stuff. And it just lets me track it, whatever, especially if I just leave it outside for a short while or anything like that. It's just a nice addition and gives me a little bit of security on it. In terms of the size of the bag, as we covered, it's 14 litres and is a really nice, easy access top there. I love how big you can get your stuff, and I hate bags that have constrictions or openings, and I think this is actually really, really good. I do think what's hard is to realise how much shorter this side is to the other side, and the lid has some depth on it, so you really can get a lot of stuff in there. It just feels that you're cramming it in a little bit sometimes, especially when you're trying to fit awkward shaped shoes in and cans of spray. So it has its ups and downs, but overall, in terms of bags I've used for commuting, this probably from an opening point is by far one of the best. The only downside I would say to the zip is when it goes all the way to the extreme. If your bag is full, it is quite hard to get that zip to actually catch its rung when this is pushed up out the way. Not impossible, but just a little bit faffy. So I'd have actually preferred if they'd put the stop of the zip a little bit further up, just so it didn't get such an extreme angle. But I do also appreciate that would give you some form of restriction into the back of it there. One of the modifications I have had to make to this bag was actually on the bottom itself. It comes with these little rubber stubble feet here, which just help it balance on the bottom itself when the bag is put down, sits on the rack, but the actual middle one here didn't really sit on anything, so it was only for the bottom. But with the way I like to store the bag and swing it round, this would sit directly on the main frame, this one that was here. So I took it off because it had the potential of scratching the paintwork and didn't really do anything. All I had to do was drill it out slightly, and it's just from the way I use the bag, helps me keep it in the frame without worrying about scratching it itself. So again, not essential, but annoyingly has left a tiny little hole at the bottom of the bag which will compromise its water resistancy. But between the area of it, the mud guard and the rack itself, I'm not too worried about that there. In terms of the design, the one thing that I would have personally changed and liked to see on here is just some mesh pockets running around it here. Just mainly because I use this bag as literally a carry bag when I'm going in between like the climbing centres and work and all that. I could also just use it that if I'm going climbing, because most of the time I just grab the bag. So I would quite like to see a mesh pouch where I can put some phones, some keys and all that type of stuff. And the space is not being used, so there's no reason a mesh pouch couldn't be on here itself. So that's one addition to the outer that I would like to have seen changed. One of the other things that I've toyed with, mainly from a speed point of view, is the little latch here that locks into the triangle itself. Now obviously we have the security point up here which is Velcro. This means it 100% can't go anywhere, but we also have the latches here which hold it really good. So obviously we don't have this in, we've got protection for it going up and we get protection for it going off. But I do find without this in, the bag does jump a little and makes a little noise, which I'm not a fan of my bike making a noise when I'm riding. So I'm still using it. I don't think it's essential, and I've not cut it off because it does have its use. I just hate the fact that it slows down the folding and setting it up because you have to unclip it twice, so it takes away speed from your setup. Now, if I was in a rush, I just wouldn't clip it in and I'd go with the rear buckles. But I keep it there because if I am loading it or if I'm going to take it on a long trip, I would rather have the flexibility of having it than not having it. With the bag in place, there's two ways we can efficiently unclip this. Both of them require the same start. You want to unclip the buckles themselves so that the bag is free to move. We then want to take the rear triangle to remove the securing strap. And then your two options start here. We can either simply lift the bag up, where the bag itself holds itself at the top Velcro and allows the rear triangle to collapse. And your bag will stay there freely. If you don't want to keep all the weight on here, you can pull it back a little bit tighter and use your seat to hold it up in the meantime. This will then allow you to do your continued folding, lifting the bike and storing it as normal. The other method is very similar. So we'll just click all this up. As with all these attached, we would then unclip again first, undo the rear triangle, and instead of going straight up, we will then spin the bag around to actually be where we want it to be. It's the same concept. It holds the Velcro at the top, but we actually now have this over the main frame, which allows us to continue with the drop-in and the folding of the bike. Now, this was where one of the design faults I was talking about is this strap is ever so slightly short of the saddle, because it would be nice in order to actually have that do it, to hold it there. But as you'll notice, the saddle is a little bit short, it falls off, and its weight can rotate round. So it isn't as stable or as practical as doing that. I have found this to be significantly more practical for actually getting the bag off and for the weight to be set okay. The only issue with this method is the weight is at the rear of the bike rather than over the middle, so you are a little bit more unstable, but I've not personally had many issues. So now I'm going to show you how you would do it efficiently without the aid of a kickstand and in the field. First thing we're going to do is rest the bike on our hip, and we want to release the two buckles like so, release the frame. That then lets us get a little lift up. Simply lift this up here, throw it around the top, and then we can proceed with a normal fold. So I'll reset my pedals, fold the bike down and under, and we have it all still stable, but now it's in kickstand mode. So from this mode here, we can then simply proceed with folding the bike. For this, I'll personally reset my Garmin. I will then undo the main frame, lock it around here, on there. As you see, everything looks normal. I can technically do the bars at this point, but what I like to do, okay, bars are down. And then with the last part here, what I like to do, simply rotate it round, shuffle it down with a hinge, and then this is why, where it sits here, we have removed that little latch, and then simply lower our saddle down, and this will then secure the bag in position. We can lock that back off, and there we have a Brompton that's ready to go. And with a roller rack, we'll simply go there. But the benefits don't just stop there. With this mode here, we can open it, and we have a good opening where if you wanted to go shopping, we can, I've always living here, put stuff in and out quite comfortably while wheeling the bag along. So it actually works really well for shopping also. But as I did state there, the key for this sort of method to me is to remove that bottom bit of plastic I talked about earlier, because that way there's nothing rubbing on the main frame, and if you want to get it even tighter, you can just constantly keep bringing this down until it's really, really tight on that side there. But that is how I would keep it in a stored configuration, and it just wheels into your work like that. So it's the most effective way I have personally found how to use this bag itself. Now with it folded, I may as well show you the most effective way to unfold it and put it back in. It's just the same in reverse, but here we go. So what I like to do is hold the bag separately this time, put my saddle up, continue to hold it, line it up, and then same as before, just throw it on the back like this. From there we can do a basic unfold, like so. Give it a little pivot, throw it round. And as I say, this is the only way I've found to really kind of keep it in kickstand mode, but it does take a little bit of time. Simply throw them back out, there we go there. I do let the frame clip in, and this is why I talk about this strap being the irritable, because if I could just drop it down, which I technically can do, it just saves time. But what I then do is, this will hold at the top here, so I'll naturally do that. Give it a light unclip, and then this is the first one I'll put in. Like so, and this never actually comes off, so this is your constant. And then all we need to do is re-thread the bottom buckles, like so. And then we are good to go. So, as I say, overall, nothing too faffy on it. The only little part that takes that little bit extra time is the loop here, because we're having to double unclip it. But of the greater good, it does stop the pull up quite dramatically. It's still there a little bit, but without it, it just goes that even bit higher. But yeah, that's the most effective way I've personally found of using the bag itself. So overall, is the Borough Roller Rack Bag a good investment option? I have it now, so it's easy for me to say yes. But when I do step back and consider the bag itself is £90 and the advanced roller rack is an additional £140, it's hard to say yes, but I feel, depending on your circumstances and if you are a commuter, it is a phenomenal commuter bag, because you also get the benefit of needing the advanced roller rack. I will cover the advanced roller rack in more details, but the advanced roller rack itself has really helped the commute. The aesthetics of the bag look good, the fit on the bike is good. It comes with its disadvantages for what we've already covered, the fact it's hard to just put it into kickstand mode because there's so much connected to it. The slight little design changes I think they could implement, but really wouldn't put me off recommending the bag. It does have great storage capabilities. I love how wide open the top is. I like the fact that you can actually use it for shopping, and again, you've got to see buying this with the cost of the roller rack, but the roller rack really does just enhance your Brompton to the next level. And I think also where the advantage of this comes in is that pretty much because it only works on the P&T line, if you were to get this in the advanced roller rack, the way to see it is that with all the extra stuff you're now taking to work, you're weighing your bike closer to what an original C-line weighs. So you're actually giving yourself really the ultimate commuter experience on it. I don't personally feel Brompton advertise this bag very well at all, and I think it's clear they've made something that just fits the rack rather than think about how is this implemented into people's lives. And for me, as I say, there really wasn't much criteria on the internet about this bag, so I'm so grateful that I can give you this in-depth video about how you can use it in your daily life. I do think that if you buy it, you won't be disappointed, but I do think it will take you a little while, and when I say a while, probably about a week, to adjust how to effectively and efficiently work it into your commuting lifestyle. You may want to make slight adjustments yourself to it, and the bag doesn't come perfect out the box like most Brompton stuff does to be super efficient. But yes, overall, I would recommend this to a friend that is a commuter and has to at least carry the bike a little bit. This just takes all the stress off, and again, you can still go shopping with it, and you don't need to have a fruit mounty bag. Now, this has taken me a little bit longer to record this video, but it's actually taken me longer to come to a conclusion that I really wanted to share with you rather than just put it on and be like, does it work? So I hope you've really got what you need from this video, and as always, if you have enjoyed the content, we're purely a Brompton channel, so if you've enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, because it really helps us grow and get this information out to other people like yourself. Hope you're having a great day, and thank you so much for your time at stopping here at the Brompton Guy.